Hi guys, this is Paula here in the month of January to show you my design team project that is finally completed. Okay, so it's brighter than I would normally do on the cover, but the inside is just got little dabs of color here and there. So this is a Reader's Digest book, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I decided that I like this one. So this is just some kind of goldish ribbon, and this is a crocheted flower with a goldish ribbon. Now it's not like true gold, it's more like a yellow gold. It's more like the color in the book. And here is the spine. I kind of grunched it up a little bit. Okay, the back is the same. And there's beads. Okay, so let's get started. I tried not to make this a long video because I can get slow, and I don't mean to, I'm just slow. So I did use some gardening books, old gardening books, because I do like that look, and I wanted to incorporate gardens and flowers and birds and butterflies, and let's see, what else did I use? That is pretty much it. I'm calling this book Seasons. I don't usually give my books names, but I just decided to do that because I saw some seasonal type stuff that I liked. And let me hold this picture up so you can see it. There's a little bit of red in the background, and I like the way that it just kind of comes out and flows everywhere in those pictures, just like the cover does. Now, they may not be identical, but they do flow out like the color. There is a little bit of a brownish red, so I do use some of that in here. So I did put tabs on the books and tags, and I decorated the inside of the book as well, so you can see that that is fun. And going on, I've got this yellowish, goldish, and a butterfly on here, and because it's kind of flimsy, I decided that I would cover the other side with some more of the botanical-like gardens. So, and up here I just put summer and spring. I didn't even put them in any kind of order, I just put them on there. And then over here some music sheet, and I tore around the music sheets. Book page, and I just put a little bit of black with white hearts on there. I zigzagged or did some kind of stitch on each of the tea stained or coffee stained paper. Coffee stained this doily, and this is a blue card, and I made it into something else over here. We'll see in a minute. But I did stencil some of my butterflies on there to just give it some life. This is the Franken-Stitch tag that we had on the video the other day when we put one together, a card together. And so it was a pretty big tag, so I decided just to glue it down the right and underneath and use an observatory book page. And I double matted it, and I put spring because that's what they listed was the time for it. Here is a high school dictionary, and you notice there's a red butterfly in it. Thought that was neat. And this is also something we made in our collage class. It's more of a decoration, but it's a library card. And we just ruffled up this bird fabric and used these old vintage buttons from my mom's stash from when she was here. And I just put I popped this label up on some foam tape, and then I just put birds because that's what's on there. Back here is just like a sales receipt or something. Okay, now moving along. I made a cloth pocket out of some of the fabric I was trying to decide to use in the book. And over here some ledger. It's really tea stained nicely. This is a small, very small music book. And both pages are the first and second page of Mrs. Robinson by Paul Simon. And I believe it was like 1968. So, if you could see here, I put some covers on the punched out holes to make it more secure. Did the same thing in the back, and then I laced from the bottom to the front and intertwined just on each side, and when I went back down I tied it into a knot on both sides. And then there's a few pages inside. Okay, and we will move right along. I've got several bits, not several, I got 2 videos to do today. Because I'm going on a retreat. Tea stain paper. Just a cute little writing pad that has pink and green on it. I just liked it. My old favorite ledger paper that's very old but in very good condition. You can write on it. I've got some graph paper. I've got printer paper. It's all tea stained. Now this is the center of the page, and it is a surprise. Not really. I just liked it. You know, I was going through all my books that might have the color theme I was going with. And this little page, there's 2 little pages in here that's about a fox who wanders at, you know, he goes miles and miles at night. Okay. But it was the fall part of the seasons. Look at him sitting there. So you can see the label top left. But look at this sign. Yes, you're reading it right. Or correctly. Tracie, this was not on purpose. But if it will score me points, that's all right. I'm kidding. Anyway, it just happened that this was a children's book I ran upon months ago, and I love the illustrations. More printer paper, grid, ledger, coffee stained, little note-taking paper. And now here we got to the ledger and the paper had a fold in it. So I wanted to glue the bottom and the right side of this tag and put an envelope in there. Each of the envelopes have a little card in them to journal on. And this little floral right here came from the mini floral embellishments. And I forgot to tell you that this is the Fundamentals kit. And there's 5 pages to the kit. You can use them for pages in your book, or you can use them to tear and do collages. There is, let me grab my paper. I had it all laid out over here, and somehow it must have got picked up. Okay, so it has the mini text embellishments, the Fundamentals tags 1 and 2, the Fundamentals pockets 1, 2, 3, and the Fundamentals, I know how to say this, but it's running off my tongue wrong, Fundamental envelopes 1, 2, and 3. So it's the Fundamentals kit. I'm sorry, guys. I've been up since real early this morning, and I'm trying to get ready for my crop, get my videos done, and get my next book ready. So, look at this. This is not stunning. I love it. Tracie, I don't know how you do this, but whatever you do, I like. Here's a little tiny mini to go with the mini florals and the mini birds. That is a different kit. Doily, tea stain paper. If I can get it open. And this one is a fold out here. And I added a strip of washi tape, and I did glue that down. So, over here is a book page with some scallops, and I used my pinking shears. Here is music sheet that I tore around the outside. Here is another book out of the actual Floral Gardens. Something's glaring. Let me move this. I'm sorry. So all of a sudden we had a glare going on in there. There we go. I might have to turn it back after we're finished with this. I'll hold it up so you can see it without a glare. It just kind of appeared, didn't it? Alright, now that we're off the shiny paper, well, maybe not, the left side's shining now. Anyway, so I had put some muslin on the book. I actually stamped it with Tim Holtz Flutter butterflies at first, and then I wrapped it around to the back side. But I also stenciled using one of his stencils. So on the part that's wrapped around, there is a safety pin with a blue bead like what's on the cover, and a flower charm. And look at this page. Whew, I like it. Okay, now this page on the right is the second signature. And I just kind of hold it up and let you see. This book was just calling me to decorate it. In the center behind the Edith Holden paper was just a bunch of journaling lines, but it was kind of framed in with some other papers, and I liked it. So I put butterflies because this is an Edith Holden, and I just decided to pop that butterfly circle up on some foam tape and give it some dimension. So when you mat the back of your text like this, like I did the butterflies, it will give you dimension also. I can't handle just flat on anything. This is a like appointment planner type sheet, and it was tea stained as well. Here's my first attempt at dyeing parchment paper, and it takes a while to dry, but I did it. I really wished I had made this parchment pocket bigger, but do what you do, and it's over. There's summer, because these pictures are from this summer. Let me just bring that up. You could put whatever you want on this label. You flip it over, and then you have a more carefree-like picture from the gardens. Get this back in here like it needs to be. I don't want to slow anybody down. So on the next page, of course you have two sides to the pocket right here. On the next page, it looks like my envelope fell out when I turned that page, but it has herbs, the mini herbs, and this is Tracie's envelopes from the Fundamentals. And I know that this had I don't know what happened to the pocket inside, but I'm going to set it right there. This was one of Gail's envelopes. It's a number 10 envelope, and you cover the flap and the bottom of the front. Then you fold it in the middle. You fold it first, and then you cover the flaps in the front of the envelope. And then after you fold it, you set it down onto a page this way. And you get the front and you get the back. And I decided not to glue on the top so I could get a pocket there. So this is a tin, made out of tin, little flower that was on a clearance at Michael's, and I thought I can do something with that. So I covered the back here that was open with the red that's on the front cover. And there's a little hook to hang it if you so desire. Okay, so this envelope was here. And then we got I matted a little mini flower, or I think that's berries. That's the mini berries. Okay, and I'm going to leave that there so I don't forget to do it. And on this side, we have a tag from the kit, which we also have a mini tag from the Mini Birds kits. And I put some scrapbook page paper on the background, and I added a button with some twine and just kind of did a cluster. I have a tendency to like to cluster, or collage, whichever you want to call it. I've done it for years on different things, like on scrapbook pages and so forth. This was the belly band. I cut it in half and used it as 2 tags. I just wanted something different. Just folded up some muslin to put under there and let some of it hang down and did a little mini bird on there. So, yeah, that turned out cute. All right, so now another tea stain paper, some printer paper that you can make it look like a letter, or you can just write on it. Here is a giant envelope, and I didn't really like the way that it all turned out and how it looked, so I just decided to change it into a pocket. And I'll show you in a minute when we get on the other side. On the back side, I just did a design on the sewing machine, did a cluster up in the right hand side, the little flowers from my stash, and then I used for my stash also these florals to stencil. Now this is the open side of the envelope, and I'm going to bring it up and let you see. It does have one of the florals, whoops, excuse me, one of the florals on it just as a design. But you can see the little half moon circle that's cut out. I just put some craft paper on top of the envelope, made it into a pocket, did a little cluster up here that says floral. I used muslin and kind of ruffled it up. And then we have 2 tags in the pocket. So let me show those to you. This is tag number 1. It has some herbs, mini herbs kit. This is the kit we're working on now, and here is some muslin stapled on or glued on. The other one I made simple. I wanted to use this washi in the book and I hadn't, so I made this at the last minute. I'm just like, I just want something simple to show this cute little washi. So it's clear. It's got a little bit of a white tone to it, but it's mostly clear. And then it has the black flowers on it. Over here on the right side, we have a pocket. I piled up some muslin and I glued the title down, and then I stapled it, and then I glued it onto the pocket. So see, it gives it that do, re, mi, you know, steps 1, 2, and 3 look. And here is one of Tracie's tags. As you can see, I stapled the muslin on. And I put some cheesecloth behind the mini floral. Okay. Here's another page from the book, and it's got the scallops on it. Another planning page. Tea stain paper, notes paper. This was a card that I had that is of a house sparrow. And he's chirping here. But I saw that and I was like, I want to make that into a pocket. I want it to hold at least 2 tags. So I didn't take the back off, which makes it a little more difficult. That's why I'm telling you, so you'll know that I didn't take the back off. So here's one of Tracie's tags. It has one of the little I just said this a dozen times. A little tab, I guess. Label. Hello. Okay, here is from the Mini Florals kit, which was a previous kit. So she just had some she took a photo or something of her tags, and she put cheesecloth on there. Now this is one of the early things I made. I'm going to turn it sideways so you can see. It's a craft tag that I had in my stash. And, you know, it came out of Edith Holden's book. And this happens in spring or super early summer. And, or late summer. Or no, super early summer or late spring. So, I said those totally backwards, but you know what I mean. I love doing different things with Edith Holden's pages. Thank you, Gail, for that idea. Made my brain start working. And then I just tied it with some muslin. Now, this is the part that's a little trickier because I left the back on the card. You know how that is. There's a pocket all the way behind the card for the big tag. Let me put that down. There we go. And that's where that goes. And as far as, I did like butterfly, floral, bird. If you'll notice, I either do all of one or I kind of step it up to different ones. Okay, here I put a grommet in. This had a hole in it in this ledger paper. And I tried to dangle something and it just didn't look right. So I went ahead and just tied a little bit of the ribbon. Tea stain paper, a notes paper. Here's the center of the book. It says beautiful on this vellum. And then now this floral that I'm about to show that's showing through, it had to be bright to show through as well as it did. But it's a little brighter than the yellows in the book, but I didn't care. I just thought it was pretty. Now here's the center. And it's different. This is the card that went with the big envelope. Here's another observatory book, page that I double matted and put butterfly here. And it gives you the information below. Here's a part of the notes page. Tea stained ledger. On this ledger, I used part of the trifold kit with the florals. So I just put floral. And here's some butterflies. Now see, I mixed these two up. And I just... Do I have that upside down? No, it says butterflies right there. And then it has a muslin tab on it. And it just goes right in here. And I just like the way that looks. Here's that notes paper. Tea stain paper. I did do some kind of stitching on all the tea stain paper. And here is the bottom of that ledger and another book page. And I did put tabs. There's probably like 7 or 8. And here's the end of the envelope. And I covered the top with text and inked it. On the back I did, let me hold it up here. If I don't drop it. That wouldn't be good, huh? Okay. So I just did a circle and a rectangle shape, and that's the blue is some fabric from the spine, and it just says journal and notes, just kind of like a little decoration. Here is that like computer paper that has lines that you can print on or you can just journal on. Tea stain paper. Here's more of the ledger that ended up with a bow. More parchment with more florals and greens on both sides. This is the planner. And here's the back of one of the pages that I stamped a Tim Holtz Flutter design butterfly on some muslin. Kind of frayed the end so it looks good. And it goes over the top to this cool paper. And there's a butterfly and a red bee. Let me bring it up so you can see. It's kind of dark, so there it is. There's the bead. Couldn't put 2 beads on there. It was like being angry. You can put maybe 3 or 4 if it's nothing but beads, but I think 3 is the most it will hold. We'll see in a minute. There's one with just beads. This is cool too. third signature. Some cool florals here on some old paper. I just found it in the vintage shop. One little single piece of shiny paper. Over here is a library pocket. And I've added some of Edith Holden's April page in here. And I just put muslin under the bird. I just kind of folded it up in any odd way. Glued the bird on that. Gives it texture. And then I just said take flight as the text. And then it's a side tuck. So here is the tag. I put just this really cool clip on there for the topper. I try to use different kinds of toppers. You can put a tag in here if you want, but I wanted to leave the text where it could be read if someone wanted to. Music sheet that I tore around. Here is one of the larger pockets, and I just added some old paper that had from one of her kits that had butterflies. And here's a little mini envelope. And it does have a little card inside. And a tag. I used the button as a topper. You just glued it on there. Used some of that old vintage lace. I liked that this had lines, so I didn't want to do much more than that on the top of the tag. Oh, and if you notice, there's cheesecloth coming out from around. Okay. Here is This Book Belongs To on a pocket. It's on one of the larger ones. And then this little flower came out of my stash. And I just put This Book Belongs To. And then you can pull the notes book out. My hair is just hanging in my face and it's getting in my mouth. Little strings. I think there's a little bit of static electricity today. So I just made this, which came out of the trifold kit, and then the little tags came out of the embellishment kit for the fundamentals. And then here's one of Tracie's texts, and then I put journal on a tab here on the side, and open it up, and you have paper. You know, just several pieces of paper. I think there's like 6 or 8 or something like that. If you notice, I curved the paper when I put it in too. And I just stapled the paper together at the top, and then I glued this green scrapbook page with the staples showing in the front to the book. And if you look on the back, you don't see the staples. It's a fun little thing. Here's another doily, tea stain paper. Here is a high school dictionary that has botanical right there, which I thought was fun, so I circled that. And we did this in a video a while back. It's a glassine bag, and we decorated the front with this red and green and yellow, since that's our kind of our color scheme. All of them are a little bit different, but that's okay. So I clustered here on the front of the bag some fabric, some text, some lace, some cheesecloth. So quite a bit. And then here's the tag. I did the same thing with, and then I doodled around the tag and put some muslin. And that went inside the bag. Okay, and the front was done the same way on the sack. Behind the sack, I did the sack as a side tuck right here, like this, gluing on the left side and the bottom. Here is another observatory page with florals, and it was the summertime, so I put summer. That's where my seasons kind of come in. I'm just trying to use things that are from seasons. Here's another fabric that I was going to use for my cover, or my spine, but I didn't. Here's some of the old vintage lace, and this is something that was in a video too, I believe. This is just like 2 strips of green fabric, vintage lace angled in, and an old button out of my mama's old big button container. And it's definitely a different style from what we have now. Making sure that that's not folding down inside. Ledger paper, another book page, tea stain, another little floral note. Here's my old ledger I'm sharing. Here is some grid paper, printer paper here with the holes at the top. Here's our next Fox family picture for the center. I'll bring it up. So they're sitting around the fire. Some are napping. It's in the fall. See Mr. and Mrs. Fox up there? I put the fall on there. But look at the heart, 1835. There's Daddy and Mama and the little kids chomping on some bones. We don't want to know what the bones came from. This is cute because it has, this is the back of the page. See the fox up there, 1839. Just gathering the kids in. There's a lot of little kids. So here's another printer page. Grid, ledger. Just part of that little pink pad. And here is another page, book page. Now right here, this was the belly band in the trifold kit. And so I just, this ledger paper under it flapped over. So I just made a pocket for this envelope because I needed something big. And then I just put notes here for below. So the envelope comes out. And it's from Edith Holden, and I put winter right there. These are actually dead leaves. You can see how they're curling up. On the inside, you have to get in there because it's in there. I might have to put a tab on it. The only thing is I tried to put something there and it just wouldn't close. So I just matted some tea stain paper and put the word notes from the kit. Okay. So like I said, there's a lot done in the book, but there's a lot to be done because there's a lot of journaling pages. And you can just have a heyday. Okay, here we go. Ledger paper, another of Tim Holtz florals, and a tab on the back side of this. Look how cool this paper is. Like I said, you can use them as pages or you can use them as tear papers. Here's another flip out of a coffee stain paper with some Tim Holtz washi, doily. Look, these butterflies are cool. They're on a blue card, which was really big because this is just half of the card. I'm knocking over bottles of beads. They're not going anywhere because there's a lid, but music sheet. And here is a pocket with the field flowers, and then here is a little tag. And you can see on this little tag how I did the beads. There's 4 beads on that same little paper clip. Yeah. Now I gotta find where I lost it at. Here it is. And it goes in the top behind this photo. Okay. This is the last page of the book. I like how it has like a signature or something there at the bottom of the text. She has grid and she has music sheets, and then the little tabs on the pages. Here is a pocket here in the back, and it's kind of piled up with the word journal. And right here is half of the other half of the belly band, and I just put one of the labels on and stapled on some muslin, and it's simple as that. Okay. Alright guys, here's the back. I hope you enjoyed this video and this design team project. Tracy, again, I just appreciate you so much. I have learned a lot from you. And, you know, everybody's style is different and they have different ideas. And I just have had so much fun watching the pros. That's what I call you guys. And so anyway, this, for my subbies, this will go on Etsy sometime tomorrow evening. And this will be my design team video. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't been to Tracie's shop, you've got to get over there. It's Tracie Fox on Love Junk Journals on Etsy. And I'll put her link down below the video. You can go right over, and she just is adding more and more and more every day. It's amazing how much she has got in her shop now. And everything's so reasonable. You know, that's the thing that I love about her shop. So, if you haven't subscribed, this is a great time to do it. And don't forget about the giveaway. You have to go to the giveaway video to sign up. The reveal of the winner will be on the 16th around 7 to 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Okay, guys, I will see you soon, ready to go and show you the next book. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Bye.